Welcome to Riverside Insight's Gifted Coordinator Toolkit on Language Matters. I'm Monica Simons. You are here. This is a video that is an overview of the module. Why do we need to talk about our language? It's really important to remember that people come to a conversation with their own backgrounds and understandings of how words are used. And it's crucial that we all have a common understanding so that we can communicate effectively. To further your elevator speech, there are these instructional implications. We must remember that our ultimate goal is to achieve fidelity of communication, both within and across groups. A new term you may not have heard before is linguistic prejudice. We will talk more about that in a moment, but when linguistic prejudice exists, we have more implicit bias. And so our goal is to reduce that. And when we reduce the implicit and explicit gender bias, we have increased culturally responsive communication. And that lets students and adults alike have increased self-esteem, self-efficacy, and ultimately growth. So here are the guiding questions that we are going to dive into. First of all, in thinking through how you might implement or innovate using language in your district or your school, do you have a glossary of shared terms? In other words, do you have terms already defined so that when someone says enrichment, everyone knows exactly what that word means? The answer here may be a short no, and that's okay. Most do not. Then the next thing to do is to think about what are the words that are often used, especially those that may be misunderstood. Words like intervention. In fact, let's talk about intervention for a moment. Intervention often brings to mind something that is done for a student who is struggling in the classroom. In all actuality, intervention is something that disrupts the status quo. So for an advanced learner, an intervention stops the student from not growing and provides them an opportunity so that they can grow. What about enrichment? A lot of people have lots of ideas about what is an enrichment. Sometimes gifted services are enrichment. And does that mean it's tied at all back to the classroom? And what is an extension? What do we call a strategy? Some think it's a worksheet. Others say, no, it has to be an action. And then it is important to consider the different words we might use in a situation. Does your district receive nominations for gifted services? Nominations makes it sound like it's a reward. Or do you receive referrals? For a program, imagine a program is something that has a beginning and an end and it's in a box. Or services. Services are responsive to individual students' needs. Now it is time to think about what words and in what context there could be misunderstanding and what are the implications of that. For example, if enrichment is understood on one campus differently than on another, cross-campus collaboration comes to a stop. In fact, the implication might even be that some students receive better services than others. One of the places that misunderstandings can occur is department to department. For example, your instructional technology department might have a way that they define extension. Your emerging bilingual department may define it differently, and your advanced learning department may even have a third way to define it. Take some time here to talk to individuals in other departments to ensure that you have a comprehensive list of all the possible misunderstandings and that you have grounded yourself in the implications of those. This is where the real work begins, building that glossary of shared terms, and it takes some time to get the buy-in. So whose buy-in do you need? Because once you do the work, you want to be sure that the work is used. Now we have a glossary. How do we roll it out? And then how do we ensure that it is used? Who makes that decision? And how will that be communicated out? This may seem like a daunting task or something that is beyond the scope of your particular responsibilities. But I'm here to say, but this is an opportunity to be a leader in your district or on your campus. So the best 3 practices to begin with: create that glossary. Explicitly identify language that creates barriers. And address linguistic prejudice. Dive deeper into these resources. I want to particularly recommend the Yale Grammatical Diversity Project from 2010, where linguistic prejudice is defined and explained with great examples. We hope that this video overview for Language Matters has been helpful. Let's continue the conversation and learn together.